Yes, my name is Emmanuel Whitmore, and I am running for Brooklyn Borough President.
Okay, why are you running for Brooklyn Borough President?
So I am running for Brooklyn Borough President for a couple of reasons. One is I was actually a person who was affected by the pandemic. I lost my store. I was left with, just like the rest of Americans, left with wondering how we're gonna pay our bills. Other our employees that we paid, how they're gonna pay their bills, along with how we're gonna survive this pandemic. The people, one of my things happened personally, because I am a small business. When the PPP loan first hit, major corporations, big body corporations took it and gobbled it up. So it left us little people with nothing. And my whole community, my whole neighborhood community block pretty much shut down. Like pretty much 50% of the stores on that block shut down. And it was devastating to me. Secondly, a reason why I chose to run is because of education. Due to the fact that there is no internet service for children who are in family shelters or families who are working remotely from home, but the internet speed system is not as fast. So we're left to little to no internet to work with them. And now that's causing them to fail. So education, lost jobs, I was angry. So I chose to become an activist, not a politician, but an activist in this run and try to get Brooklyn back to where it needs to be.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your store and the business that you own and what it was like to lose that.
So by trade, I am a custom couturier designer based here in Brooklyn. One of those stores I was actually partnered with was Versailles Boutique. We are actually still located in Brooklyn, but my location in particular was closed. Trade to do from wedding gowns to prom dresses to celebrity clientele. And I've been in the business for about 13 years now.
Okay. And how do you think that kind of experience would translate particularly to the borough president's office?
So I feel that fashion design, unless I'm coming in there with a big old measuring tape, I don't think it transitioned over to it. But as a Brooklynites and a business owner in Brooklyn, and know what affected us personally, who actually lived through it, I feel that coming as an activist towards the community of Brooklyn will make a big change to it. One of my things is I'm nothing against politicians. I'm looking for them to be my colleagues. But I don't think they always get it right sometimes, if that makes sense. And I do have some leadership under my skills. It was many, many, many moons ago, but I was raised in the Maryland area, and I actually worked under politicians in Maryland, Jack Johnson. I ran nonprofit organizations. So I worked hand in hand in community activists before.
Okay. So tell me about your roots in Brooklyn then.
Mm-hmm.
When did you come here?
Well, I was actually born here. So I was actually born in Brooklyn, New York, back in the 80s. Late 80s, excuse me, late 80s. And I pretty much came here. My grandparents was originally from Brownsville Projects. My grandmother came from Tennessee, the South. My grandfather came from Jamaica. They came together here in America. They birthed 6 children who birthed 6 children. That's actually my great-grandparents I'm talking about. So I actually saw Brooklyn go through it from its worst when no one wanted to come into Brooklyn to now Brooklyn's actually one of the sort out zip codes people want to live in now. So I actually seen it fluctuate. I think there's some things that actually been missed in Brooklyn because one of the things that I feel that's happening right now is housing, where Brooklyn is becoming a popular community and it's being as so popular, the rent is like sky high. And families of 2 and 3 who's making between 60 to 40,000 a year is not being able to afford to live in Brooklyn. So that's one of the things that affects my people, and that's actually one of the reasons why I chose to run as well, because housing is something that's important. Like, we built Brooklyn, so we want to stay in Brooklyn and keep that momentum and charm here,
How, as borough president, would you help create affordable housing for people who want to stay here?
So definitely. So one of the things that I would love to do to keep affordable housing is I love the programs they have now where they have the Affordable Act going on. But if you actually see, and I get inflation, but if you actually see the prices to actually live in those things now, it's like paying a market rent. So one of the things that I would love to do is I would love to actually keep people in their homes, sustainable rent that is comfortable for them to have. programs that's not necessarily built by the that's kept by the government, but that's actually kept by communities where there's actually tax dollars for education, but there's also buildings that's actually designated for those people who were originally there, who came there and stayed there. Rent subsidized. That was something that was happening here in New York forever. Once your grandmother died, your next on the lease, so it passes down to the family. But we don't want that. We want to make sure that they get able to still get the perks, to still benefit the benefits of what's happening, stainless steels, doorman, give them the new birth of Brooklyn, but give them with a price that they can live at. People who are originally from here.
Right. How do we go about doing that exactly, though? Like the idea of creating more affordable housing when the only housing that's being created is either unaffordable or just not geared towards families. Like you don't have 3-bedroom apartments anywhere really that are new that are coming to Brooklyn.
Certainly. So it's definitely according to your income. A lot of people want to hear that, but it's definitely according to your income. How you apply for that apartment building is according to your income. We're able to accommodate your living. If you were to make $40,000 a year, I don't think a person who's making $40,000 a year can afford $400,000, $500,000 rent. That person is comfortable to afford $2,000 rent, $1,500 rent. That's something that we need to make sure that they're able to comfortably stay there as suitable. And it's keeping them in their apartment. So not necessarily looking for new development buildings, even though Brooklyn is being built up like left and right here, but keeping them in their apartments so they're able to stay and live with their families.
Okay. You obviously have a lot of experience with how small businesses have been affected by the pandemic.
Yes.
So how can we work towards creating jobs, bringing small business back post-pandemic?
Yeah, so I love the fact that the PPA, the SBA is having adults coming back around. People are able to apply for those SBA loans, and they're able to get money to actually reopen their doors. So it's all according to your payroll and your staff. And one of the things that I pray that we're able to happen is that we're able to bring in people whom companies are, we're able to bring people in who companies are reopening, allow them to expand, keep some kind of program going that they can able to still hire people in and they get a tax break, or they're able to get some kind of credit towards their business that they're able to support the new hiring that's actually coming in. I would love to open up new programs here in Brooklyn, performing art programs, prime examples, or programs that allow for us to hire people who are out of work, to help rebuild Brooklyn, to help run all facilities. I want to bring in more nonprofit business companies inside Brooklyn, so therefore that can offer jobs. So therefore, I want to be able to, because if you believe it or not, New York City have lost 10% of jobs. So that's of 1 million people. So those things there alone, we need to make sure those people are back working. Now, I'm not running for mayor, so I want to start with the small portion of Brooklyn, but those people need to get back to work, including myself, because I freelance now. I do what I can do now, but I live like other people. I was affected and I had to go on unemployment, and I had to do other things that I had to do as well too. So that's why it's important that we get back to work, not those people. We get back to work. We can get back to feeding our families because we're taxpayers, we're citizens of this country, we're New York residents, and we're angry about that.
Making sure that the relationship between the people who need to be protected and the NYPD gets better from here is on the top of many of your opponents' agenda. So how would you work towards creating synergy between Brooklynites and police?
Understood. So one of the things that's amazing to me is being that I am running for borough president, and if I am elected to serve Brooklyn, I'll be working directly with the mayor. I'll be the liaison of the mayor, advising him on what's happening in Brooklyn. And police brutality is one of the things on the list that needs to be handled. Now, I'm not going to say all of Brooklyn because there's certain parts of Brooklyn that is, beautiful, done, and well kept and manicured. But then there's certain parts of Brooklyn that we still need to do some more working on. And those are the neighborhoods that are actually, unfortunately, East New York, Brownsville, Crown Heights, certain parts of Flatbush. Those are the neighborhoods that the police are actually going into, and they're actually being more aggressive and abusive and just abusing power. Those are the police that we need to find. And those are the police that we need, one, fired, Two, criminalize if they have major crimes against them, if they was a civilian on the streets. Those are the things that we need to find, because I have family, I have friends who's in the police department, and I know there's amazing police officers out there, but I know because of what's been happening since Ferguson, I'm not Ferguson, excuse me, since George Floyd happened, it has overcovered them. Everyone sees police now and they're thinking all police are horrible, all police are mean, all police are this. They're not. But we need to crack down on those